A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. We continue with what we've been doing for the past few weeks, which is looking at 2021 and looking at the plans of the Federation, having them unveil what they're going to be doing, and of course, the unique challenges that this season presents in your amazing world of sports. So we'll be doing that on the show tonight. We have, interesting personalities you would want to listen to on the show, going to give us perspectives on the challenges and, of course, how to move forward in this period where we have the world ravaged by COVID-19, yet sports has to go on. Once again, I want to welcome you to the show tonight. This is just to tell you that we will be taking a look at what is happening in the English Premier League. We will spend time to talk about the Nigerian Women's Football League. That's the Premiership. We talk about it, the issues surrounding the decision to put on hold Matchday 5. We'll talk about that on the show as we move on. And of course, we will also do our best to talk about the National Sports Festival in light of what is happening globally. Some say the dark clouds are beginning to gather. So we'll also talk about that as we move on the show. Let me quickly introduce, we're going to touch in a lot of places tonight on the show, but let me quickly introduce Kehinde Idris joins me. It's going to be with me from start to finish. Kehinde came in a rush, but it's good to have you as well.
It's good to be here, and I think timing, getting at the nick of time, is actually probably the hallmark. You made it eventually, but it was a rush, really.
All right, it was a rush. All right, so let's move on the show. Let's move on the show tonight. And straight away, let's talk with one of the personalities I said you would love to hear from the president of the Canoeing and Rowing Federation. I'm talking about Festus Pobeni. Joins us on the show tonight. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on the show tonight.
Good day, Dimon.
All right. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show. So let's just dive straight into some of the things we want to talk about. We've said that it's a unique year. This era doing sports in a period where the world is trying to grapple with the unique challenges presented by COVID-19. First of all, I want to ask you how your federation was affected in 2020, and do you think that you're better suited to handle those challenges in 2021?
Well, you see, for this year, we found with the COVID and co, we decided to do indoor training because you know that my sport is not a contact sport. It is a sport in which you are on individual in your boats and your operation doesn't contact any other person. So therefore, we did that and then indoor training, exercises and co.
Okay, that's good. Okay, now that we've seen a few months of COVID, you found a way to adapt to it. In 2021, do you think it will be as challenging as it was last year?
Well, I think it will be challenging, but not as last year, because that's why even you can see the Olympics, they are deciding, yes, we shall continue. So therefore, we'll be on without any much problem.
That's good to hear. Let's come home and talk about what's happening on the domestic scene. What can you talk about? What can you say about interest from people who want to participate in events organized by your federation, events under your umbrella? What can you say about the level of interest from Nigerians?
I can tell you that people are aware and interested now. There was a time people didn't know about rowing and sailing, canoeing, but today is a sport that's well known because when I took over, we had no boats. We were rowing theoretically, no practical rowing. And in Tunisia, I found we're all coming last. And I decided, no, this is not like my style. And then I came on board, went to the custom where we had boats donated by international bodies for 11 years. Where at the ports, we had to clear them after 11 years and pay the demurrage and started. Today, not only we have boats, we even manufacture boats in Beast Garden from Nello, our boats. So we are very, very comfortable now with boats. And all that is, people make a mistake. It's a riverine sport. It's not. It's a sport that can take place anywhere in the body of waters. Anywhere there's body of water, my sport federation can take place. That's why I was able to host it in Jos, host it in Jabi Lake, and of course other places, Borno and Co, just to make sure that we make popularize the sports, make known. Before now, our athletes were mostly foreign-based, like Jonathan Akiemi from Britain and Cherry Okoko from America. But today, I now have athletes qualified who are home-based, home-trained. I just pick them from the water side, and they're very good. Like my Ayomide, who had 4 goals at the last African Games, just one person.
All right. I
So
mean,
therefore, it is possible.
yes.
Yeah, go on, please.
I'm intrigued. You talk about people that from our local scene here, they've been able to go on and win something. I want to ask, what qualities? I mean, you're somebody who is best suited to answer the question I'm going to ask, and I'm very sure I'm asking for a lot of people. What qualities do somebody who want to do some of these events, canoeing, rowing? What qualities should they possess, or can anybody be trained to be good in the sport?
The first quality, you must know how to swim.
Okay.
Because you are very close to the water. So it's swimming to give you confidence. And then, of course, it's the boat rowing is like riding a bicycle. See, a bicycle, you must know how to balance it to be able to, or otherwise you capsize. So therefore, after rowing, then knowing how to paddle, then balancing the boat, that's the most important thing. And they conquer the fear of capsizing.
All right.
These are the major qualities. Just knowing how to row.
Okay. That rules me out totally, because I'm afraid of water. But anyway, a lot of people are still listening to us that are still interested. And talk about equipment.
But you drink water. You drink water.
Yeah, I do. But I'm just a bit afraid of water. But I mean, moving on. How, in terms of equipments, how exposed are the people who do these events in this part? It's a question we get to hear from a lot of people. In terms of equipment, can those equipments be locally sourced, or you have to import those equipments? And at what level does an athlete need to get acquainted with all of those equipments used in those in some of the major events?
Yes, my brother, you're very right. First, I told you I had no boats, not a single one. We depend on handouts. But today, we manufacture boats in Beast Garden, in Lagos here. We got people from Nello who came and taught us how to do the boat. We had a profile. From there, we started manufacturing boats. So we now do it. You can see some of them in the picture. We do the boats, we manufacture them, and we get the resins and co. It's just dedication, make sure we don't depend too much externally. So the boats are being manufactured. So that's the key area. The paddles are doing will not be able to do because they are fiberglass, and the fiber material will not be able to manufacture ourselves. We're trying to see if we can get into that area later. Apart from that, the canoe, the paddles, that's all. But then the next one is the skill.
Right. Let's talk about aspirations now. Let's talk about what you're looking forward to as a federation and for the athletes under you. What are the aspirations for 2021? What are the things? Well, maybe I should use the word that everybody likes to use, targets. What are the targets that you have set for 2021 for your federation and for your athletes?
The talents, well, for me, you see, because you can give people hope what to do and what expectation. For example, we are qualified 3 athletes for Olympics. And we have 3 more to qualify for Olympics, but now 3 more to go for qualifying rounds. So there'll be 6 athletes, and they will have doubles. Therefore, we have people to go. The only problem we have now is the Edo Sports Festival, where we're supposed to have, which is the Olympics of Nigerian sports. And incidentally, we're having issues. Make sure that the rowing federation takes part, because I have promised on my own to make the lane for the Edo state. But one or the other, we're still partnering to it, and I make sure that we're going to be there in Edo state. And that is why on the 27th to 29th of this month, January, we're having the Admiral FBI Pobeni boat race in Jabi Lake. We're sponsored so that about 19 states were ready to come for the competition. And when the Edos was cancelled, was suspended, I found the children who have trained hard and not been doing anything. I said, no, we'll do something for you so that you can have your own competition. But after that, we'll look for the Edo competition. So there's the aspiration for the students, for the boys, to make sure they take part in sports and be there as all time as possible.
All right, that's good to hear. Wish you all the best in all your endeavors and what you plan to do in 2021. Thanks for taking our time to speak with us tonight. Hopefully, we get to do this some other time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for publicity, because we want this sport to be known to the household world. This sport that can give so many medals.
Yeah.
Not to go on.
Okay. All right. So that's it. Yes, thank you as well. So we've been speaking with the president of the Canoeing and Rowing Federation, Festus Pobeni, and told us a lot of things. I exposed myself about my fears for what. I don't even have those fears anyway.
Maybe I used to, but at a point I had to learn swimming.
Okay.
I love water, but when you said your fear, it's not fear for water. It's fear for those large water bodies. Yeah. That is where your fears lie. They can put some water in the bowl and you stand in it. You won't be scared of that.
But when just it comes one mistake.
I think I had that too, but at a point I had to learn swimming. Then afterwards, it exposed me to being,
the good thing, one of the things he said, the opportunity to get medals.
Yeah.
And he also dispelled the notion that, that we can't train people here to be world beaters.
Yeah.
And that's one of my takeaways.
Yes.
That we can do it here. We already, according to him, we're already manufacturing some of the equipment we need.
While I was talking, I had some things jotted down. One of it is people getting interested. Now, I keep saying it here in Nigeria. I'm trying to think of an absurd sport, and you just bring it here. The moment you take it 1, 2, 3 places, you'll find some people like they've been waiting for these sports to, come to bear, and then they get to be part of it. It seems like this is the sport they are meant for. And the moment rowing and canoeing, is taking that, front stage, some persons are already keen and are saying, wow, this is the sport I've been waiting for in my life. So you'd always find people interested. Also, you talked about taking it everywhere to the people. He mentioned it's not just about riverine area. Anywhere where you can find, even if it's little amounts of water, you can have canoeing and rowing around there. And that means you can't take it. And he mentioned places like Bauchi, Jos and all. He is just trying to say, whether there are, large water bodies present, as long as you have those little, water bodies, you can take it there. You get people being interested. You train them there. Then you can bring them to wherever level. And then he talked about competition that would involve about 19 states. That is in 36. If you're having 19 for canoeing and rowing, that's
that discussion, it's very interesting, and it shouldn't end there. We'll definitely continue.
I'm just happy, some other sports are taking that front stage.
All right. Okay, so to get more perspective on all the things happening in your fast space and money spinning, also entertaining world of sports, let's go on now and have a chat with the chairman of the local organizing committee of Edo 2020, the National Sports Festival, also Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shuaibu. It's good to have you on us, sir. Thanks for taking our time to be with us tonight on the show.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we're having this discussion because of what is getting attention all over the world with regards to sporting events, a lot of fears surrounding the Olympics, even as we speak. And once that happens, people begin to look at our own mini Olympics here in Nigeria, and the question marks begin to come up. Will we be able to hold this? There talks about the second wave. And I want to ask you, as somebody who is emotionally invested, who has done a lot to ensure that the event sees the light of the day, the present circumstances surrounding everything with COVID-19 and all of that, how does it make you feel? And, you know, does it put a question mark on whether or not I will eventually be able to have the sports festival this year?
I would say yes, we can have the sports festival, but also it's not total, it's not concluded. Why I say it's not concluded is that the second wave was not envisaged, and also the variant issues that are coming in and the level of debt that we are seeing are things that obviously everybody will be worried about. But the truth is that we are lucky in terms of the mortality rates as far as the country is concerned compared to elsewhere. And we've seen that sports all over the world, the sporting activities are already on. And we are also seeing that we can have these games without fans, and we can also have everything arranged with COVID protocols. But the truth is, for us as a state, we have our plans all set as far as these games is concerned. And interestingly, we are all collaborating with the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports and the Presidential Task Force and Edo State Committee on COVID-19, because this game is going to be held in a different scenario now. We have hosting game in a pandemic is not something that is easy. And we have a lot of issues to actually settle. The University of Benin is resuming. We had an extensive meeting yesterday on alternative arrangement for athletes. And we have a lot of suggestions on how to reduce the number of athletes coming into the state, especially the combat sports. Yes, we want to scale down. Maybe we're suggesting to the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport, maybe we can have preliminary games for team events, so that semi-final events will only take place at this festival in Edo State, so that we reduce the number as much as possible to be able to sustain the social distance in line with the coronavirus protocol.
Let me just ask you, let me ask you this, and I'm very sure it's what a lot of fans would want to hear. Has there been any talks about a possible shift in dates or anything, as in from where you stand? Has there been any talks, or we're still envisaging a scenario where, all things being equal, we can still host the games with the dates that we're given?
No, I think the discussions that are on is how to organize the games and how to maintain the COVID-19 protocols, how to ensure that we have all this equipment put in place, how to ensure social distances, how to make sure that testing of athletes as they come in, testing of athletes before games, kind of introducing rapid testing during the games as against using PCR before.
All right, you know what?
Those are what is going on.
All right, sorry to cut in. We need to go on a break now. We're going to continue with this conversation, but we need to go on a break. When we return from that break, we'll continue with the conversation we're having with the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shuaibu, shedding more light on everything surrounding the National Sports Festival. First, we'll go on that break. We'll come back for more Sports Tonight. We have the chairman of the local organizing committee of the Edo 2020 that's talking about the National Sports Festival, also the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shuaibu, with us. All right, so let me just allow you finish up on what you were trying to say before I ask you the follow-up question that's in my mind.
Yes, if you listen to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport, I think that was in about 3 or 4 days ago, he was optimistic because our plant is out to deal with the issue of the Presidential Task Force COVID-19 protocols. And all our subcommittees have been given the protocol guidelines on what to do. To organize this whole tournament. And that is what we are discussing right now. The issue of postponement is not actually coming in because we are running a very tight calendar. When I mean we, the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport is running a very tight calendar. The pre-trials for the Tokyo Olympic Games will be starting in March. So, and that is why we actually arrive at 14th of February to have these games so that we can use this to get our athletes to prepare for the pre-trials and qualifiers for Tokyo Olympics, in which we start in March. So the calendar, the only space they have was to have this game to hold in February, as to give space for March and April for pre-trials and qualification for Tokyo Olympics. So if the games, God forbid anything happens, it means that the games will not hold till around November, December this year. And that is not what the ministry and us want to take chances. But health is important at the same time. And that is why we are making sure that the guidelines that are given by the Presidential Task Force, we are domesticating it to all the committees that will be in charge of different events.
Before we let you go, I know you're a very busy man. I want to ask you this. I need a quick response from you. With the information you have at your disposal as we speak, all things being equal, as things stand, the information that you have, does it warrant any shift of dates for the National Sports Festival, or you think with what you know as of this moment, it should still go ahead?
Yeah, with the information I have and being the chairman of the State Technical Committee on COVID, the statistics that we're having is frightening, especially the mortality rate as it comes to this second wave of the coronavirus. But because there won't be spectators in the stadium and the numbers of athletes have been reduced drastically, and we are going to participate in Tokyo Olympics. So it will obviously be important that we just go ahead with the tournament, about observing all the necessary protocols to avoid any using the sport to be a super spreader.
All right, I want to thank you for your time on the show tonight. Hopefully we get to do this some other time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. All right, so we've been speaking with the chairman of the local organizing committee for the National Sports Festival, who also doubles as the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shuaibu. There's nothing left to add, but you listening to him, answered a lot of questions, and some very reassuring, and also provide vital statistics. And but your takeaway from all that he said?
I think one thing I loved about everything he said, it was bordering on, two ends, optimistic and realistic. He's optimistic because he's directly involved with this. He's also a Nigerian. He wants, everything happening for the Nigerian athlete. But he's also as realistic as of what is happening on ground.
At this present moment.
Especially the last question you asked. The first question and the last question. The first question, he said, it's not concluded the sports festival will hold. But at first, they said it will hold. But it is not concluded it will hold because the PTF, a lot of statistics are not showing. Then also the last question asked that with the information you have on ground, He said it is scary. The statistics is scary. And that is a man who is just letting everybody know we are, trying to handle things with what we have on ground. Right. But it is scary at the moment. Although with fans that will not be present, we can say we have a little leeway to this happening.
Okay, so that's it. Let's go on and talk about something also directly linked to COVID-19. Idris, let's talk about women's football. Yeah. It didn't come as a surprise when we had the women's league body putting their foot down and saying, you must have this test, you must show us the results, provide evidence, because all that matter is health and safety. It takes someone that is alive
to
be
the
involved.
First thing before football or sports comes in.
Any sport. You know what? I think it's fitting that we listen to Aisha Falade speak on some of those issues. We'll come back to talk more and also get some other perspectives relating to women's football in Nigeria.
And before the kickstart, we had told them, we had shared with them the COVID protocol documents that we expected all the clubs to abide with and put in place for the matches to start. One of those protocols was that the clubs must do testing, for COVID before the league kicked off. We got a report. They reported back 100% compliance, and that there was no everything 100% negative result. We took their word for it, and we started the league. But we also realized that this testing has to be continuous at intervals, just to be sure that the players are safe, the officials are safe, and more so when we now have this new variant of COVID, we needed to be sure that our girls are not put in any harm's way. So we decided again after the Christmas break that there should be another test, a second test in this case. But we began to see some things that were concerning and worrisome. The clubs were posting pictures online, and yet they were not sending us the results. They were not sending us the test results as we had demanded of them. They were also sending pictures to us. So we have to write to them again, stating what we had told them to do. Go and get your test done in a government-approved facility, in the COVID-approved facilities in your state. There's several of them in each state of Nigeria now. So nobody can say that we don't have any in our state. And we need to verify those results. The doctor has to sign it off. They have to put their telephone numbers. They have to put their email addresses, just so we can also review, evaluate, and then validate this result. Calling these health officials where the tests have been done. Up till now, not one club has been able to give us this. I mean, the next best thing to do was just to say, look, we are going to put this league on hold until we are sure that the tests that we have are from sources that are approved by government, where they are from sources that are not doctored, they are from sources that can be verified, and they are results that we also on our own can validate. Also taking this result to health officials, government approved, that can also help to further validate this result before we can say that the league should commence, which is why we have had to postpone with 5 matches. And if we do not still get the compliance next week, we may have to also push and give a deadline. If we have any clubs that still do not meet this deadline after the second round, we may have to delist the club from further continuation.
All right. Chairperson of the Nigerian Women Football League, there, Aisha Falade. Kennedy is almost applauding. Okay, let me just go straight to you, Kennedy. You listened. I don't want to paraphrase. I just want to allow the words that she has spoken sink in. Let people listen. Health is wealth. It's important that we do the right things. And you were applauding. I couldn't do that.
I had to.
But she gets my applause for that. That's the right approach.
That's the right approach. When this league was about to start, it was supposed to start with 16 clubs. But 4 couldn't meet up with the requirement. They pronounced, Aisha Falode-led board, that we'll be starting with 12. But between that period where it was pronounced and the time it will start, 2 of those 4 clubs that were left out rallied round, got to the point where they got approval, and they met up, and it became 14. And look at, they started, the league is enjoyable, very beautiful. Now, while they are getting very excited, talking about the clubs, the management, players, and all of that, the organizers are not getting any excitement. They are following everything the way it should be, especially in this era where, as much as you're doing the management of the football, of your presentation and all of that, there is also a COVID on one side where you have to be mindful of.
That requires periodic
tests. And look at, they've even given, maybe I would say, a long rope where you did the test before the start, which was in December, and then they are telling you at the turn of the new year, do another. In some places, you do tests every week.
Yeah.
In some cases, it's even every match.
And even when you do those tests, we want to validate.
And look at what she said. The doctor's email, the doctor's address, the doctor's phone number, then the address of the hospital, where if you bring the results, we can go through all of these measures to validate. Right. When we do that, you guys can play football. And that is why I kept applauding what Aisha Falode-led board is doing. This is what it should be. Right. The management should not get excited like the clubs or the players are getting excited. And that is the hallmark of getting things done the right way.
All right. It's all about putting your foot on the ground and ensuring that things are done properly. All right, let's go to our man in London. Austin Okonakwan joins us on the show as we look at all of the issues happening in your amazing world of sports. Austin, it's good to have you join us. You've listened to quite a bit. I don't know where you want to take it from, but we are on the matter talking about women's football in Nigeria. So your take on postponement of matchday 5 and the reasons why it's been put on hold.
Sporty greetings, Yemi, Kende, and of course to our viewers all over the world. Always a delight to be on the show. I think you've been having a fantastic discussion tonight, starting from the development of rowing and canoeing in Nigeria, one of the sports that we can actually, jump on in this COVID-19 pandemic. And it was good to see the experienced Admiral Festus Pobeni, enlighten our viewers more about the sport. And then we jumped right into the National Sports Festival, which has been suffering a lot of setbacks. And it was good that the chairman of the local organizing committee, Philip Shaibu, put out some clarity. I love the sincerity when he talked about the statistics rising and their concerns, but he also applied reason, some sense to it that they know how they're going to tackle it. They've reduced the number of athletes to come. They just want to do the National Sports Festival and get it out of the way. But I'm glad that they are considering safety. So let's come down to women's football. I love everything that Aisha Falode also talked about. Look, if you protect the girl child, if you protect women, you protect the society because they understand everything that it takes to manage effectively. So I'm glad that they weren't so comfortable with the way some clubs were handling the COVID-19 protocols and some not even being realistic with testing. And they've put a hold on week 5 games. It will be played on January the 20th, just so they can put things in place. And that's what I always say on this show. COVID-19 has given us a space to reason, to reflect, to ask questions, to tell yourselves that you can't do things the way you used to do them. And it's just all towards, ensuring that everybody is safe. Because if a mother from the league tests positive, unknown to her, goes back home, she's most likely going to give everything to her family also. So shout out to the board of the Nigeria Women's Football League, Aisha Falode and her team. Let's always ensure we do the right things. Let's put safety at the back of our mind while we also want to see football.
All right, good one, Austin. Let's get some other perspective. Let's listen to women's football expert in Nigeria. Needs little or no introduction. Harry Awomribe joins us on the show tonight. Harry, it's good to have you join us and help us, talk about some of the issues we've talked about today. How did you receive the news when you heard that the board insisting on things being done the right way in women's football? Okay. Okay, Ari, let's just go straight into it. I'm very sure you can hear me. So let's just dive straight into it. Your reaction to what you've heard us talk about, postponement of Match Day 5 for the women with regards to the requirements on COVID-19 and the fact that the league body is adamant that these rules must be followed. Okay, it appears like we're having issues linking up with Harry, but as soon as we're able to sort that out, we'll get his thoughts. We'd like to have his thoughts on the issue. So, all right. So, Katie, I mean, you listen to Austin, you listen to Aisha, and I mean, I don't want us to be repeating the same lines, but I think it seems that everything has already been said.
We're allowed to repeat. Sometimes we need to talk and talk and talk again about the same matter. Maybe it might be at the 9th time or at the 10th time that someone will hear and will yield. Maybe at the first, second, third time, he still feels or she still feels they were just talking. But when he kept coming, they were at a point, feel. And I think we've not even said so much. I doubt if at this time you would say anything that would be so much. Because somebody's carelessness is
it's going to cost everybody.
Danger to so many other persons. And you might be in Lagos today, you're hearing of something happening in Imo, and you feel it's in Imo.
It's far away.
It's a global world today. We're even talking of Asia to Africa. In no time, you're already, crossing from one end to the other. Not to talk of Nigeria. Somebody in Imo can be in Lagos tomorrow. So if the carelessness is going on in Imo and then you don't bother, you don't want to say anything because it's not happening close to you, that person might be in your community, gives it to somebody in your community, and then it gets to you. So everybody being conscious is because you're either conscious for yourself or for your family. That man's undoing or that man's carelessness or that man's, look away or that woman's look away might just affect you. So it's not so much. We just have to keep on going on with the campaign, especially with a platform as huge as this. Any TV platform is as huge. Channels television is as huge. So whatever you put out there, a lot of persons will take it to the bank and start acting upon it.
Let me go to Austin. I don't know if you are baffled as I am. It was a little scary when I was listening to Aisha Fowler and was saying not one of the 14 clubs, not one of them deemed it fit to meet all of those requirements. While it was comfortable to be sending pictures and doing all of those things, not one of them did all those things required. And Kennedy has just talked about one person's carelessness could cost, every other person. So I don't know if you were baffled that it wasn't some, it was all of them.
I'm bewildered, actually. I mean, it's shocking, it's frightening, it's disappointing that despite all the information out there, despite the cries, the global concern, that some people don't take COVID-19 seriously. It's really heartbreaking, and it tells a story of the state of football in Nigeria, or even sports administration. When Aisha Falode said what she said, my heart broke because I was expecting the Women's League to know better because they've got sound leadership that can actually put them in the right direction. But it just goes to tell you, and everything, Yemi, rises and falls on leadership. The ownership of football in Nigeria is a big, big problem. And despite all the campaign by state governments, who is allowing ladies to go out to play football when they don't know their status as regards COVID-19. I listened to Phil Shaibu saying that they want to initiate rapid testing for the National Sports Festival. And if they're thinking that way, they should think the same way for Edo Queens, that is also a team in the Women's League. So it's another call. We have from now to 20th to resume. And I want to charge Aisha Falode and her team, put your foot down. You don't have to compromise. It's about safety. We need to do the right things. If clubs are not ready, we postpone it again. If we need to cancel it, we cancel it because we need to stay safe. We need to let persons understand that COVID-19 doesn't respect anyone. It is ravaging the world, and we must take our destinies into our hands to ensure that we respect the protocols and stay safe.
All right. Guys, I actually thought forgive me if you don't share what I'm about to say. I actually thought we would get to this with the guys first.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people had predicted this will happen with the guys, and this would be the reason why we would. You know, some people were saying, don't let us start, because we'll start, we'll get to a point, we'll have to halt it because some people will not comply.
They would do this.
But I'm surprised we're getting it with the ladies, and I have a feeling we get there with the guys too. Sooner.
I have a feeling. And probably, you know, the guys might even get to shield the information from getting out even way earlier than it had happened. For the ladies, because I'm one of the apostles of, you know, women football and the followership, I think I got a bit disappointed hearing this.
But you need to hold your thoughts. But we're still going to say more about that. But we need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we talk a lot about the guys. We talk a lot about what is going on in England as we speak, English Premier League, and a lot more for you on Sports Tonight. Join us again. All right, welcome back, and we're on the home stretch, so let's move on. We're done talking about the ladies. We could go on and on and on and on, but we have to create time and space to talk about other things. I still have Austin Okonakman with me. I also have Kehinde Idris with me in the studio, and so let's continue with this conversation. Let's give to you match day 4 fixtures in the NPFL. That's for the guys. Let's take a look at the fixtures, matches to be played. Let's see what's going to happen. Guys, I'm going to get your thoughts, but let me quickly reel out the fixtures, and you can tell me what you think is going to happen. Adamawa United will take on Nasarawa United. Kano Pillars take on Plateau United easily. One of the games to look out for. Then the other one, Heartland and Leyimba. Doesn't get better than this. Wiki Tourists will take on Rivers United. These are some of the games to expect. Match day 4. Kwara United will take on Aqua United. Of course, you have Abia Warriors taking on Jigawa Golden Stars. Rangers will take on FC Ifeanyi. Then Dakada will take on MFM. These are some of the fixtures. Then the other ones, quickly we have Sunshine Stars, who their coach wasn't happy with what happened at the Agege Stadium the other time. Take on Lobby Stars. Then we have Warri Wolves taking on Casino United. All right. Austin, you take the first stab at it. If there's anybody who we're trying to win over to watch Nigerian football, what are the games you would say? I know you're not a gambling person, but I can put my money on this, go watch this game.
Interesting fixtures in the Nigeria Professional Football League, and that's why we're calling everyone that haven't been following to see the good things that are happening with league football in Nigeria now. Of importance for me, some teams that did so well on match day 3, I want to see if they can consolidate. One of them, Dakada went away to win, and in a difficult ground for a lot of clubs. That young team, they've continued to impress. They won. They will be hosting MFM. MFM had a good one over Sunshine Stars. So both sides have a lot to prove in that match. Let's see what they can do. Rangers also went away to win. They beat Jigawa Golden Stars. It was expected. I think I called that as the only away win that we're going to have on match day 3. They have a difficult one with FC Ifeanyi. Let's see what they can do. Rangers are beginning to, get back their momentum. I like the job Coach Salisu Yusuf is doing with that team. He's beginning to, put in some confidence in them, and they begin to play good football. Everyone, is talking about Rivers United. What a season they're having. But why people are just joining, I'm telling them, hey, they continued where they stopped last season. They were a fantastic team last season, and that was why they were so gutted that they missed out of the CAF Champions League. They've shown everybody that they want to play good football, and that's what they are doing. They take on Wiki Tourists. They have a robust media team. Shout out to Charles Moyoko and the job he's doing. They're spreading out the word, letting persons to come out, and that way they are building their followership. So these are some of the matches I'm hoping to see in the Nigeria Professional Football League. Abia Warriors, I've said that they definitely will get their first win of the season when they host Jigawa Golden Stars. But hey, when you say these things, football turns around and stun you. But interesting match day 4 fixtures in the NPFL, Yemi.
All right, let me go to Kehinde. I don't know. I'm looking at Kano Pillars, Plateau United, Heartland, Eimba, and those two. I mean,
I've got 5 matches,
okay.
marked out. The one you mentioned, Kano Pillars against Plateau. I want to see Kano Pillars, how they will shape out. It's not been a fantastic season for Kano Pillars, although it's not been that bad. For Plateau United, they picked a win the last time, and it seemed like their season just got started. Let's see, probably on the away ground, they will just go on and consolidate on that. For the other game, it's Atland against Eyimba. First from Atland Ango, while they were going for their last game, they got some alerts. They've had this issue of payment and
in
all
local
of that.
parlance,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. They started receiving some of their, hold salaries and all.
Yes.
But it wasn't, probably the motivation period to the time of the game was too short. They couldn't get a win and all of that.
But should
this
have kicked
time, probably now
in.
it should have sunk and all of that.
All right.
Let's see if against Eyimba. Then for Eyimba that they are playing, it's a team that is also motivated, looking like Eyimba will now put the ghost of the old Champions League not happening so well behind them and then face the squarely. Also, the other game is Wiki Tourist against Rivers. Like what Austin said, everyone should be talking about Rivers United, but we should understand it's not just happening now. It started from last season, but the recruitment was angle where people are talking from. Where will they gel? How will they turn out? How will it go? And all of that. But this team just picked up from where they stopped. And all of the new guys, Godwin Aguda and the likes, are all hitting the ground running. And it's beautiful. Another game is Kwara against Aqua United. Aqua, you need to start your season as soon as possible. Then the last one, definitely when MFM is playing, I'm a Lagos guy, I would always say MFM. And going up against Dakada, fantastic football everybody will see.
Okay, all right. So let's leave the league now and talk about this piece of cherry news, if I can call it that.
Yeah.
Nigeria's under 17 were able to squeeze into the semi-finals. Let's give that to you. They didn't play. Well, of course, matches played elsewhere favored them. We said Cote d'Ivoire must beat Ghana by a 2-goal margin. They were listening to us. Yeah. They did it. And on the strength of that, Coach Fatah Amoro's boys through to the last 4. Cote d'Ivoire and Nigeria qualify from that group, and Nigeria will face Burkina Faso in the semis. I mean, I'm not going to allow the guys to talk about it. It's a developmental
I don't know why
tournament.
I'm not even excited about
but
this.
it's information that we needed to put out. And so that's it. We're through to the semi-finals. For the sake of the boys, I hope that...
At least it's cheering for some Nigerians.
I hope that they go far.
Something to behold of our football.
All right. We're pressed for time, but let me go to Austin's stuff quickly. We have a minute or two before we wrap things up on the show. Let's talk about the English Premier League. 2 games currently going on. One has just been concluded. Sheffield United, very happy, even though I can't really say I'm a fan, but I'm very happy. Billy Sharp from the penalty spot, 73rd minute, got a goal against Newcastle, who were content to defend. I don't understand. But some games currently going on. Burnley, Manchester United, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Everton, as we speak, is 1-1. Burnley, Manchester United is goalless. A draw is enough for United to go top. Austin, wrap this up for us in a minute if you can.
Good victory for Sheffield United. Doesn't bring any relief, but it's good to know that they finally gotten their first win of the season after 18 matches. So with that, they can start believing. You said it, Manchester United, they're powered up. If they win this one tonight, it will do a lot of good for them. On the league table, Everton and Wolves also are pushing it out there in the English Premier League. A lot of persons have COVID concerns. But look, when these players get on the pitch here, they understand they are professionals. And that's why they're entertaining us and we're seeing beautiful games in the English Premier League. Let's just see what Manchester United can do against Burnley, because their fans actually won this win. They actually got it. They didn't, make it to the League Cup final.
For your time on the show. I wish we had more time, but you know what it is. Time, not always our friend. I want to thank you, and hopefully we get to do this some other time, probably later in the week.
Thank you so much, Yemi. Always a delight to be on the show.
All right, so that's it. Kende, as we prepare to leave the studio, what do you think will happen in the 2 games currently going on?
Yeah, I think the only game I wanted to see tonight, like so many other persons, the Burnley-Man U game. Will Man U do enough to go top of the table, or will they slip to Burnley and stay behind, Liverpool? But I think the team looks poised. Probably they should get at least a draw that would also put them at the top of the table. But Burnley are also one of those teams you don't want to close your eyes against. And if you see the scoreline right now, Wolves against Everton, any day, anytime. Recently, talking about 2, 3, 4 years from now, this fixture would always be interesting. So it's happening interesting.
All right.
For Sheffield, congratulations.
Okay, congrats to Sheffield. Tomorrow's fixtures, quickly, let's take a look at that as we prepare to leave. Manchester City gradually coming to their own, up against Brighton. Tottenham Hotspur, rearranged fixture. They're going to play against Fulham. That's in the Premier League games for tomorrow. Okay, that's it. We've crossed the finish line on the show tonight. First, I want to thank Kende Idris. Came in a rush. But now we're ending the show together. Kende, I want to thank you for your time on the show today.
It's always lovely doing this with you.
All right. I want to say thank you to you as well. It was always fun knowing that you're there listening to us. We're back here again tomorrow. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.